Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing really well. So you might have noticed we are in a different location at the moment because today you are joining me as I watch a horror movie for the very first time. We're going to watch it. Perhaps you can even pause this video, watch it with me. Then I'm going to go back to my set and we will talk about my thoughts and feelings on the movies, my first impressions, and any little interesting little tidbits of information about it that I can find out for you. So for the first episode, I am watching House of a Thousand Corpses, directed by Rob Zombie. The only thing that I know about this movie going into it is that it is directed by Rob Zombie. His wife Sheri Moon Zombie stars in it, and it also stars Rainn Wilson. Big fan of Rainn Wilson, so that is a reason to watch it for me. And it's also part of the Firefly trilogy. I have heard of the Firefly trilogy and I know that it has a big fan base. I know in my own little horror community there are lots of people that sing its praises, so I'm excited to watch it. My experience with Rob Zombie is more through his music. I love his songs Living Dead Girl and Dragula. The only movies of his that I have watched is the Halloween remake that he did. And to be honest with you, it's fine. I think it's neither good nor bad. It has its good and its bad points, but he's not a director where I watched it and I fell in love with his style of work and I thought, yep, I have to watch all of his back catalogue now. But I am intrigued, I'm excited. So we are going to start the movie and we will talk about it afterwards. Well, that was interesting. So I've just watched House of a Thousand Corpses for the very first time. So let's get into my thoughts and reaction to this Rob Zombie movie. Two young couples travelling across the backwoods of Texas searching for urban legends of murder end up as prisoners of a bizarre and sadistic backwater family of serial killers. Like I said earlier, I know Rob Zombie more for his music rather than his movies. The only other Rob Zombie movie that I have seen is the Halloween remake that he made, which is fine. I neither love it nor hate it. I've known about the Firefly trilogy, but I've neither seen them nor knew that much about them, other than the fact that they seem to have quite a large fan base. On its initial release, House of a Thousand Corpses apparently received mostly negative reviews. It was considered cheesy, devoid of horror, sickening, but it was released before films like Saw and Hostel, and also the same year as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, so it probably will have been considered quite shocking at the time, in comparison to a lot of the lighter teen slashers that were saturating the horror genre at the time. But like a lot of horror movies, with the passing of time, it has developed a bit of a cult following, and this contrast between audience and critics' opinions on the movie can be seen on Rotten Tomatoes, where the film currently has a Rotten rating of 20% but an audience rating of 65%. I actually read that the idea for the movie apparently came to Rob Zombie while he was designing a haunted house attraction for Universal's Horror Nights, and they were so impressed with what he designed, they asked him if he had any movie ideas, and the idea that he pitched to them was really basic and rough, but they obviously liked it enough to give it the go-ahead. There is a very blatant fine line walked here in House of a Thousand Corpses between ripping off Texas Chainsaw Massacre and paying homage to it. Within the first 2 minutes, you have a gas station in the 70s. You then have teens running out of fuel who go to the gas station, and these teens then break down or otherwise are attacked, and so they have to go to a local farmhouse for help, a la Texas Chainsaw. And of course you have the central family, the Firefly family, who are a bunch of family members whose role isn't 100% clear, but I think for the most part it seems to be Mother Firefly with a bunch of her kids, and then all rounded off with the grandpa role. So considering this was a first time watch for me of A House of a Thousand Corpses, what did I think to it? Did I love it? Did I hate it? Well, let's get into some of what I thought were the positives and negatives with the film. Okay, so let's start off with some of the positives in the movie. Right off the bat, I just want to say that this movie has some pretty great casting. You have Sid Haig as Captain Spaulding, an absolute highlight of this movie. You also have horror alumni Bill Moseley, another absolute highlight of this movie. And of course, you have the obligatory appearance of Rob Zombie's wife, Sheri Moon Zombie, as Baby. You also have Chris Chris Hardwick playing one of the teenagers, who I know as the host of The Talking Dead, which is the accompanying chat show of The Walking Dead. And of course, to round it all off, you have Rainn Wilson in it as well, in one of his first movie roles. And this was a year or two before he rocketed to fame with the American version of The Office. So like I said, Captain Spaulding was an absolute highlight of this movie for me. I think he just completely stole the show, and it's such a shame that we didn't get more of him. I mean, his character is absolutely vile and potty-mouthed, but Haig's performance of him is absolutely brilliant, and he's one of those amazing horror villains that you just love to watch. The other highlight was, of course, Bill Moseley as Otis, and what I love about his character is that despite him still playing an unhinged member of a murderous family, this time he's the character that is the leader. He's the one pushing people around, in contrast to his meeker character in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Chop Top, where he is the one that is being pushed around by his brother Drayton. I loved seeing Rainn Wilson in another horror movie, and while I'm a fan of his, I didn't just love seeing him in this movie because it's Rainn Wilson, but also because out of the 4 teenage characters, in my opinion, his is the only one that is slightly likeable. The other 3 are just rude and gobby, hyperactive, irritating, or boring. And while we're talking about characters, I loved the little detail that some of the characters in the movie are actually named after Groucho Marx characters from the Marx Brothers movies. I first picked up on it with Captain Spaulding and then Rufus Firefly, which are both characters from Animal Crackers from 1930 and Duck Soup from 1933. And I then Googled it just to make sure, and it turns out that actually a handful of the characters in the film are named after Groucho Marx characters. This leads me on to another positive with this movie, and that is the inclusion of references to and nods to classic Hollywood, classic horror, classic TV and movies. I love the opening of the film. I think it's so fun because it just reminded me of like horror presenters like Vincent Price and old horror nights that you would get on TV. And the production design of this movie is pretty awesome. The Firefly house is probably just as interesting as the Sawyer house in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I absolutely adore the decor in Captain Spaulding's Monster Museum. You've got these random, like a wall of oil paintings of murderers and serial killers, and then you've got shelves that are full of busts of Creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein's monster, just all this really random and grimy memorabilia. There's so much classic horror memorabilia throughout the movie and like twisted classic Hollywood references. You've got Baby's bizarre rendition of I Want to Be Loved by You by Marilyn Monroe. You've got Grandpa watching an episode of The Munsters that looks like a cross between Wacky Races, and I want the wall-sized movie poster of Creature from the Black Lagoon that Baby has in her bedroom. It's awesome. Okay, now for a couple of mixed aspects of the movie, and for me one of them is that I think some of the editing choices both strengthen and weaken the movie. There are some editing styles that are unenjoyable and sometimes just hard to watch, whilst there are others that I think are fantastic, like the split focus shot that is towards the end of the movie. This is a style that is used a lot in suspenseful thriller movies and used by Alfred Hitchcock, and I'm all for that. But I respect that for a first movie, Rob Zombie is not messing around. He's making risky and strange choices throughout the movie, left, right and centre, but it is clear that he has stuck to his style and his vision for the movie. I found this movie to be a bit tiring at times with the constant bombardment of activity and sensory input, but when Zombie slows it down and strips it right back, he actually creates something that's really, really good. My favourite scene in the whole movie is the one where the cops are attacked by the Firefly family at the farm after they found the 5 missing cheerleaders, and all the action slows down and there's this really gentle song playing over the top, and then the scene ends with this aerial shot of Bill Moseley holding a gun to a guy's head, and the camera just holds and just lingers there until he finally shoots him. And I just thought it was really simple but really, really interesting. Okay, now moving on to the negatives, and this one is only a really minor one, but it's being a Rob Zombie movie, you have the usual Rob Zombie language and profanities, but I will say that it is a lot lighter than the Halloween remake, especially that opening scene. This next one though is a big negative for me, and that is that this film feels like an absolute assault on your senses, almost to the point of being obnoxious. There is always constant noise, flashing lights, spinning or rotating cameras. There's scenes that seem to be filmed with a handheld camera, which give it this found footage feel, and that motion mixed with the spinning or the rotating cameras are not great if you suffer with motion sickness like I do. So there were a lot of those scenes that were not fun because of that reason. There are also a lot of scenes that are intercut with other footage. Sometimes it's like a small chunk of footage, other times it's a fast back and forth, whether it's an image from a TV show, or sometimes it feels like it's an interview in a documentary style with one of the Firefly characters. There's another one where it's actually a journey transition, but the image has this film negative filter on it with like a purple hue. While I really enjoyed the first act, I feel as though the movie begins to become undone the further into the runtime you get. The second act isn't terrible, but at this point we are in full on Texas Chainsaw Massacre territory, and I think that the narrative begins to suffer as the focus becomes showing us just how unhinged the Firefly family are. By the third act, I felt as though there was no real direction in narrative anymore or plot, as the movie just begins to melt into this chaotic visual trip with loads of gross bits thrown in. I mean, honestly, at times this movie is such a disorientating, depraved fever dream. House of a Thousand Corpses is definitely a disturbing movie and a gory movie, but there's not really much horror to it or many scares in it for a horror movie. But then, I mean, to be fair to it, I suppose you could say that about a lot of horror movies out there. And my final negative is that despite there always being something going on, whether that's visually or audibly, there were times in this film when I found myself bored and looking at my phone, especially towards the end of the movie. So after this first watch, did I love House of a Thousand Corpses? While I can appreciate a lot of elements to it, and I think that Captain Spaulding is an incredible horror character who I would happily watch more of, I just didn't love it. Look, I adore the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie and the Saw franchise for that matter, so gritty and gory is not a problem for me. I just don't think Rob Zombie's style is for me personally. Maybe it's one of those movies that you grow to love with more watches, but as of right now, this one is not for me. However, I am still really intrigued to watch The Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell, so maybe I will still complete the trilogy. Anyway, as usual, let me know your thoughts on House of a Thousand Corpses. Do you love it? Do you hate it? I am really interested to hear other people's takes on this film. But in the meantime, thank you as always for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Bye, guys.